everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the moon signs and what do the moon signs like. I did another video not too long ago about the moon and what the moon represents in a chart and astrology. And just to summarize, basically the moon is our comfort, our emotions, things that we like to do to take care of ourselves and how we take care of others. The moon is like the ultimate feminine energy of astrology. And another thing that we think about with the moon is the fact that it comes out at night. So really, the moon is kind of this energy that's stripped down, that we're not trying to be one thing or another when we're tapping into our moon sign energy. It just kind of is. Because at nighttime, we're not at work. Generally, we're not out trying to be something. We're in our comfort zone. And so the moon is that comfort zone and how we take care of ourselves, how we take care of others, like I said, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to start at the beginning of the zodiac with Aries. So what is an Aries moon like? Aries moons are going to be very passionate. They can get incited really quickly, but then it can tend to burn out really quickly because we think of Aries as like this cardinal fire sign that it gets this big jolt of power and then, it can move on to the next thing. So Aries moons like to feel a rush of excitement and energy. The things that bring them comfort and safety is that constant stimulation of knowing that there's another thing that they can go out and do to get that adrenaline rush, to feel alive. They also like to really defend themselves. They are, it's important for them to feel solid in their own identity and, how it is that they decide to live their life. Taurus moon. What is a Taurus moon like? The kind of stereotypical Taurus moon is that they like anything that makes them feel physically comfortable. Taurus is an earth sign, and Taurus likes things like delicious food and soft blankets and beautiful music that they can listen to and really feel, like their physical world is comfortable for them. They can also be a little bit stubborn because Taurus is a fixed sign. So they can hold on to certain emotional things and it's hard for them to let go sometimes. What about a Gemini moon? I have a really dear friend in my life that's a Gemini moon, and I love her to death. Gemini moons can have a serious kind of busyness about them. Their emotional body likes to go from one thing to another, so they can get on one thing and then they can get on another thing, and they have a little bit of a scattered energy like that. But, another thing about Gemini moons is that they don't necessarily take anything too seriously. It's not like a super, life or death gravity situation with them. They kind of move on quickly from one thing to another. Because Gemini is an air sign, there's also an intellectual quality to them. So they aren't necessarily one to really feel their feelings very deeply. More so they might think about them and try to intellectualize them and figure out exactly why they're feeling that way instead of just feeling that way. And like I said, they'll move on from one thing to another more quickly than some of the other moon signs. Then we come to Cancer, and the moon is the ruler of Cancer. So the moon likes to be in this sign, and these people have a great intuitive quality to them. They can really feel the energy around them, not just of their own emotions, but of other people. They're ones that might be skilled at picking up on things before they necessarily happen, if that makes sense. They also have, because they're a cardinal sign, they also have that quality of being able to move from one thing to another, where they might feel something very, very deeply, but then something else will come up and then they'll feel that thing very, very deeply. And the downside to that is sometimes they can be a little bit overly emotional compared to some of the other signs, because, the moon is so strong in that sign that everything, it's just very strong emotions for them. So they can have the reputation of being a little bit emotional and weepy sometimes. If you ever look at memes on like Instagram or something of Cancer moons, they're always crying or something. That's not to say that all people with a Cancer moon are just going around crying all the time, but it just kind of illustrates, the depth with which they feel their emotions. Next, we have Leo moons. And Leo is another fire sign, so there's going to be that very passionate energy. They feel things with that fiery, passionate energy where, and again with Leo, it's a fixed sign, so they're going to feel things very strongly, very stubbornly. It's harder for them to let go of things as well. Things that make them feel good or anything where they can be recognized by other people. Leo has kind of this performance and being on stage type of energy to it. So when Leo moons feel like they're being recognized and appreciated and, I don't want to say worshipped, but, just appreciated for everything that they've done, and that people like them and that they're being accepted. They need that type of energy. They need to feel like everyone around them, thinks they're cool, thinks they're beautiful, thinks that they have something to contribute to the world. Next, we have a Virgo moon. And the moon in Virgo is kind of an interesting placement because Virgo is a sign that in a lot of ways is concerned about other people. It's a sign of service and wanting to do things for other people. So whereas the moon is like this very personal planet that, wants us to feel our own individual emotions, the thing with moon in Virgo is a lot of that is going to be other people's emotions and other people's needs and concerns. Not necessarily in the same way as Cancer, where they're feeling into other people, but Virgo moon, to feel comfortable, to feel like they're being taken care of, they have to make sure that other people are being taken care of. And they have to make sure that they're getting everything done, being responsible to take care of them, not only themselves, but also other people. There's definitely this responsibility energy to Virgo moon, and they're not going to feel comfortable unless they know that everything on the checklist is done. Because of that responsibility and wanting to take care and do everything in real life that needs to be done, they might put their emotions and feeling good on the back burner. Next, we have a Libra moon. And Libra is another sign that really is concerned with other people in the way that they like to feel some of that recognition. And they also like to kind of put their happiness, put their emotions in the hands of other people. The thing with Libra is it's this reciprocity. The symbol of Libra is the scales, and it's the sign of relationships. So when it comes to people with Libra moons, in order for them to feel good, they have to feel like their partner is appreciating them, that their partner still loves them, feels affection for them. So there's a lot of that putting of their emotions into the hands of others. Sometimes it's hard for them to take too much responsibility for their own feelings because they rely so much on what other people think about them. But another thing about Libra moons is there's that fairness quality, and they're not going to necessarily get super hysterical or emotional because they want to find that balance. They want to constantly keep their emotional body in a state of homeostasis. So if something starts to feel too emotional for them, they'll find a way to balance that out with something that will bring that homeostasis back into their emotional body, so that they're not feeling one thing too much at the risk of something else being off balance, if that makes sense. After Libra comes Scorpio moon, and the moon doesn't really like being in Scorpio because Scorpio is this very intense, deep energy. And so when we have a moon in Scorpio, again, people with that placement are going to feel things very, very deeply and seriously. And because of Scorpio's kind of death and rebirth energy, things can feel way more grave and, again, a life or death situation to those people than it would feel to somebody else with a different placement, or that someone else objectively looking at the situation might say this isn't that big of a deal, but because of that, death and transformation energy of Scorpio, they feel like, well, God, this is the end all be all of my life. And another thing about these people is that they have a very secretive quality to them. So people with Scorpio moon aren't so comfortable sharing all of their emotions with everybody else. They have a tendency to want to hide things away a little bit and keep it to themselves and deal with it themselves instead of asking somebody else for help or being vulnerable enough to share themselves with somebody else. It also is another fixed sign, so they hold on to things. And especially because it is Scorpio, they might have a tendency to hold grudges against people. It's hard for them to just shake the emotional feeling. If someone has wronged them, it's hard for them to just shake that off and find a way to move on and forgive that person. But another cool thing about Scorpio is that they're also a sign that might be skilled at picking up on the energy of other people, because there's kind of this detective quality to Scorpio. So they might have this natural ability to understand other people, not only their emotions, but their motivations and just things about people around them that other signs might not have that ability. After Scorpio comes Sagittarius, and this is the placement that my husband has, so I know a couple of things about people with this placement. And the cool thing about Sagittarius energy is its positivity and its vastness. It's a very big, boisterous energy. So people with this placement, the moon in Sagittarius placement, it can affect their emotions so that they feel things very strongly. Everything you think about Jupiter at being the ruler of Sagittarius, being the biggest planet in the solar system. So their emotions are going to just feel very big. And this can be really good, if it's a good positive emotion, they feel it very strongly and it's this huge thing. Or if it's a not so negative emotion, sometimes it can be blown up beyond proportion. Another thing about this placement is that they are comfortable when they feel like they're constantly expanding themselves. Again, you think about that big expansive energy. Well, they want to do that to themselves. They want to go out and learn things. They constantly are trying to explore different things. My husband is obsessed with history. He has to feel like he's always learning something else about some other civilization or some other time period, that kind of thing. There's an adventurous quality to them. They feel comfortable when they're not necessarily just sedentary in their existence, that there's a bit of an adventure that they're doing. So in my husband's case, he loves to play video games, adventure video games, where he's going out and he's exploring, doing all these things. I'm not a video game person, so I don't really get it, but that's how his Sagittarius moon kind of comes out. Other people might really be into travel and physical adventure of it. So it's not always going to come out in the same way, and that goes for all moon placements. It's an energy that you have to apply to that person as an individual, and it'll come out in different ways. After Sagittarius comes Capricorn. So Capricorn moons feel most comfortable when they are constantly trying to achieve something. When you think about Capricorn as this goat that's trying to summit the mountain, and also when you think about the fact that if you look at a chart of all 12 signs, Capricorn is right there at the peak of the chart. So these people with this moon placement in Capricorn like to feel like they're constantly moving towards that peak, constant self-improvement, constant achievement. And sometimes this can come across as being a little bit cold and unemotional. These people aren't the ones that are going to be super affected by different things. And what I mean by that is, of course, everybody has emotions and they all feel things to one degree or another. Excuse me. But Capricorn moons are going to be a lot more logical and measured in their emotional reactions to things. And so they're going to think about, well, how does this feeling affect my overall goals? How does this really affect my life? Do I need to invest too much time and energy into this emotion, or should I direct my energy over here? They have kind of a businessy approach to their feelings. And the worst thing in the world for a Capricorn moon would be to feel like they're not, again, working to achieve something. They have to have a goal in mind that they're constantly making progress to. And after Capricorn comes an Aquarius moon, and this is my placement, so I definitely know about this one. The thing with Aquarius is it's this intellectual energy. So similar to what I was talking about with Gemini, is people with this placement have to feel like they're thinking about their feelings and intellectualizing why they're feeling something before allowing themselves to actually feel it. So these are the types of people that might like to journal a lot, because doing that, they're bringing that logical quality to, well, I was feeling this, and these are the things that might have happened in my life, that is causing me to feel this way, and I shouldn't feel this way because of X, Y, and Z, and that type of thing. Another thing about this placement is they have kind of a humanitarian quality to them. So in order for them to feel comfortable, they have to feel like other people are being taken care of and other people are being treated fairly. It's similar to what I was talking about with the Virgo moon. Aquarius is the humanitarian sign. So some of these people might be into volunteer work or other types of humanitarian work endeavors like that. Or it might just be something that they carry around with them, where they're just constantly aware and concerned about everyone else's life. These people aren't necessarily the most, I don't want to necessarily just say the most emotional, because again, everybody feels their emotions, but it's not like the other signs that feel their emotions really strongly and maybe let them out very obviously. Again, these people are going to want to intellectualize their emotions and keep things in check. And they're also very aware of other people, so they don't want to have, some dramatic display of emotions in front of other people. So, and they want to keep things a little bit more to themselves, more individual. Lastly, we have a Pisces moon, and these people are very imaginative. In order for them to feel comfortable, they like to feel like there's something artistic about their lives. They have to have some sort of artsy endeavor going on. And, this could be any number of things. It could be painting, or it could be dancing, or anything where they feel like they're expressing some sort of spiritual energy that's outside of themselves, that's beyond themselves, where they're feeling like they're expressing that, in the physical world. These are also people that might have a very intuitive quality to them, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which is the planet of spirituality and connection to God and to the universe, however you want to look at it. So these people might be very good at picking up the emotional bodies of other people. But the thing with Pisces moons is they also run the risk of letting their emotions get too much dictated by other people. They kind of tend to get lost in other people's emotions, and they take on those emotions too much as their own. And there's no really definitive line between what they're feeling and what somebody else is feeling, because it's another mutable sign. So, there's not this linear quality to their emotions and to their comfort. And so it's again very dependent on other people sometimes, at the risk of losing themselves a little bit. But again, that artistic, imaginative quality, they can really feel things in their emotional body and in their life that other people can't necessarily perceive, because of that connection to the higher realms. So that wraps up the 12 moon signs. I hope that you found this insightful, and if you want to do more research, just pull your chart and find out what your moon sign is. And when you really start to understand your own emotional body and the things that bring you comfort and the ways that you can really take care of yourself, it can make a huge difference in your life. Everybody is a little bit different, and what works for some people isn't going to work for other people, and that's okay. So you want to tailor your self-care routine to what really feels good for your individual makeup. And astrology is a good way to find out all about what makes you tick, what makes you unique, and the things that you might, want to put some time and effort into working on in your life. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you in the next one.